It is now my honor to introduce our next speaker, Mayor Boyd Austin.
It is my honor and pleasure to be here today. I want to thank the Chamber for taking this time annually to let us tout what's happening in our cities. Having served as president of GMA, I've been all over the state and seen cities large and small, and I can tell you we have two of the best right here. Mine is the best, but Hiram's not far behind. We both have lucky to have thriving local economies, good school system, great hospital, things that are important for people as they look to move and to find a quality of life that they want to enjoy with their families. So we are very fortunate where we are positioned. Dallas is growing. We have experienced both commercial and residential growth in the past year. Population growth, more people are coming. When I took office in 1996, there were about 2,500 people in Dallas. It's estimated around 15,000 today. So there's a lot of pressure to provide services and to answer the call and the wants and desires of people as they move here. None of this could be accomplished without a great team. I'm going to ask my city council members that are here to please stand. Don't be shy. We got a short time. And now if the staff and the appointed officials will join with them. Thank you very much. We have tried in Dallas to set an example of cooperation, and we do disagree at times, but we don't deem being disagreeable very good for business. So we usually work out our differences and move forward as a team, and I think that's what's contributed so much to our success. As was noted in the introduction, we've had a lot of opportunities in the last year for national exposure. I have been invited to the White House on 5 occasions with groups as small as 16 or as large as 125, and I'm excited about the opportunity to bring small-town values to Washington, D.C. A lot of the big mayors, New York City and Atlanta and Los Angeles, were left out of some of those processes, and they were mad. But I think it represents the fact that the president and this administration understands that so much of what makes this country great happens in small-town America. And it's been a great honor for me to be a part of that. In December, USA Today ran a national print and online article that deemed Dallas, Georgia, the epicenter of college football in the nation. We were about geographically centered between Clemens and the University of Georgia, and then that school over, the State University of the state next to us. But we got a lot of play out of that article. I had friends from all over the country call and talk about it. It was a good article about the people and the place where we live. And when I was at the Rose Bowl, I even met a lady, and she said, "I saw you in USA Today." So it was a good opportunity for us to get a little acclaim and to see what was going on in our part of the world. Then, of course, in April and May, American Idol was the hot topic, and everybody's TVs in Paulding County and surrounding environs were tuned in to see how our own Caleb Lee Hutchison would do. He was very fortunate to make it to the final 3, and we had a great party in May. You can see the background there and some of the other pictures from the day, but there were thousands of people there. It was a great event. It was an all-American event. The producers were very excited about the things that we did and how we showcased Dallas and Paulding County for the nation to see. Now, Caleb only came in 2nd place, but he won our hearts. He came in first in our hearts, and he got the girl. So I would say that's not too bad to finish the day along those lines. We have been fighting back from the Great Recession for over 10 years, and the graph that you see now shows our gross tax digest beginning in 2008 when it had reached an all-time high of $307 million. And by the by 2012, it had bottomed out at 204 million. So we lost more than a third of our tax digest in that economic collapse. And since then, we've been working to rebuild, to restore values, to grow the city. And I'm happy to report that as of this year, our gross tax digest for the first time has exceeded that 2008 level, and we're about $229 million. So hopefully the recovery is here to stay. I think we have great economic policies in place locally and at the state level and nationally to help propel that forward. We've had a building boom as well. There was a time when a lot of this city and this county had fields of green pipes sticking in the air, and a lot of places were overgrown. But with the return of a robust economy, we've seen a great building expansion going forward. And we only have about 50 to 70 of the previous lots available for development. They are all being built and consumed, and other phases of some of those developments are being begun now that were planned for 10 years ago. So that's good news for those of you in the mortgage and real estate business and all of those things that go along with it. In the last year, we've had some personnel changes. I'm happy to welcome Chief Joe Duvall as our new police chief. Joe spent over 30 years with the Marietta Police Department, was involved in almost every aspect of that department, and he's brought that knowledge to us. He is married to a Dallas girl, so he did have a good anchor to start with, and attends church here and has had a long relationship in the city. He actually lives in Paulding County. But it's good to get a new start in things and to have somebody with that wealth of experience and innovative ideas to bring to our police department and to help us to modernize and become the best department that we can be. In addition to the new chief, we've added another assistant chief's position, an additional investigator. Joe has been very active in seeking out funds and finding money for things we need. And while there aren't many grants at the state and federal level for a lot of other things, he's been able to find money for new handguns. Those were purchased with forfeited asset money. We've used SPLOST money to buy new tasers and flashlights. He has bought a new crime analysis software system that will be available not only to the police but to the general public to look at trends in that crime. And I'm also proud to say that I hope he doesn't get to use it a lot, and statistics show that he won't, because again, for about the 6th year in a row, we've been rated one of the safest cities in the state of Georgia, and that's out of 533 cities. So it's a good job and it's a safe place to live. As we talk about police departments and training, I know Teresa mentioned it in hers, we've always got to be prepared for the worst. And so our entire police department has undergone the active shooter training through Texas A&M University. And you think, what does that mean to us? Well, on that big day in May with American Idol here, there were snipers in our buildings there to protect all of us in case something happened. It's a shame that in today's world that people would assail our values and assail us as we gather to celebrate things like that. But we always have to be on our guard. And most times they will look for places that are vulnerable. And I'm proud to report that we are trying to seal those vulnerabilities in the city of Dallas. Another big thing that we're working on, Monday we announced and received a token check from the Georgia Municipal Association for $5,200. It will help us to purchase software that will move us in the direction of state certification of our police department. Now, that's a big step for a small department, but it means a huge reduction in our insurance cost, our liability cost. It helps elevate the professional standards of the department, and it also puts us in the running for other opportunities for grants and things that come along that other departments may not be able to receive. We have updated our dispatch center. That is the heartbeat of the police department. We've added positions there. We've coordinated with Paulding County 911 to add an additional console. We're updating our weather warning system. Some of you may have got the president's notice yesterday but sometimes we need to reach people that are not near their phones, and this reaches across the entire city and out into the edges of the city into the county. We also have made it possible for people to access accident reports online via the program called Buy Crash. In the middle of the year or so, we separated the court services from the police department, and now they are operating in new offices in the old bank building, our municipal court building. We built a new holding cell that provides safe and secure means for housing prisoners while they're there for arraignments and for trials. Installed video systems to monitor that, and also put laptops in the courtroom for the records and also for the judge to do remote bond hearings with people being held at the Ackworth Jail. For administration and human resources, we add an additional benefit for our employees this year. We have given them a new vision plan. It is relatively inexpensive, but a lot of times it's been a holdback for people to go to the eye doctor. And so we're providing that for them, and for a very little bit extra, they can cover their family, covers their exams, the purchase of glasses, contact lenses, prescription sunglasses. Great opportunity to make sure that they're being treated for any problems they may have, but it also helps us to identify problems on the road. We adopted a merit-based pay scale, and we've instituted that motivates the employees to do their best, rewards their length of service and their innovation. We try to encourage them to be innovative in the thinking and how they present programs and proposals to us, and that's part of their evaluations now. We have a very vigorous health and wellness program, but like everything else, after a few years, maybe participation wanes. So in addition to the carrot, we added a little bit of a stick, and this year, employees will be required to have an annual physical examination, as well as a vision exam. All of that's paid for in the insurance that we provide them, and we felt like it was our duty to help them be as healthy as they can be, to help catch problems early. If there are chronic illnesses or whatever, they can enjoy a better quality of life the sooner those things are caught. So that is now part of our health and wellness programs. It saves lives and improves the quality of life. It also saves premium dollars for other things that we can do and provide for them. The Dallas Theater and Civic Center had a record year with over 100 events. It was the largest show season to date, with 14 shows and 25 performances. I'm sure Randall feels the same way about Milltown. This was my big project early in my career as mayor, and my desire was that we could bring the performing arts to the city of Dallas, that people could enjoy the entertainment, that children could grow and be trained in the arts and learn to appreciate them. And so now, over about 15 years of operation, that theater continues to provide those opportunities. This year we had more than 150,000 in ticket sales and sold over 11,000 tickets, and a huge number of people that attended. We're also expanding our acting classes for kids 8 to 17, and that augments our summer drama camps. It gets them involved in an early age as they move towards high school, where those programs are more vigorous, and hopefully one day we'll have a Broadway star to match our American Idol. The growth that we're experiencing requires additional resources and infrastructure. The City of Dallas sewer treatment plant was opened about 2.5 years ago. We thought in 5 years that we would begin to need to think about expansion. That time is now, with the number of building permits that have been issued both in the city and in our sewer service area that serves the unincorporated parts of Paulding County with our partners there. We have found it necessary to begin that process, and so we are in the process now of getting that ready to go to bid. Construction will start Be about an 18-month process. We received a $12 million loan from GFA and a $600,000 grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission. And a lot of those things are made possible by just knowing they're available and being able to work with those folks that help provide those funds. And it has been a cost savings to us. It will be a 1.5 million gallon per day expansion. It will double the size of the plant and will be needed the minute that it comes online. We have a new sewer master plan in the works. The RFP for that will be completed and be ready to be sent out in the spring of 2019. We're hoping to eliminate some lift stations, to improve response, and to install a SCADA system. That is a computer system that tells us what's happening when we monitor alarms, access operations, and acquire data through those systems. And as part of all this, it takes a lot of funding. And recently, Dallas was named as a Water First community. We spent about 6 months in the process. They come in and they review all of our ordinances, our best practices, our record in service. Before it's granted, it's very rigorous. It has a review board that goes over that and makes comments and requests changes. But the big advantage of that is that we will save 1% on every GFA loan from now on, as long as we're a Water First community. And on this first addition to the sewer plan, it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars that it saves us. And it's a good idea just to promote our conservation of water and our protection of the environment. You'll see the water tower. It not only holds water, but it's a big billboard for the city. It was rehabbed this year, and the new logo was placed on the sides and on the top. So when those airplanes fly over from Atlanta and everywhere else they're going, as they get in that holding pattern, if they look at the right time, they'll know where they are, and hopefully they'll come back again. Water conservation has been a big part of our strategy in the city. My service on the North Georgia Water Planning District and the implementation of those things has stressed the importance. We are a consumer of water. We buy all of our water from Paulding through the Cobb Marietta system. We augment a little bit of that with our well water. So it's very important for us to make sure that we use our water wisely, that we're paying for what we get, and that none is being wasted. And with that said, I want Amber Wisner to stand up and wave over here. Amber heads up our water billing, our water department, basically. Amber is one of the most creative and innovative individuals we have in City Hall. She has been invited all over the state and all over the country in the past year to talk about the process that we're going through in the city of Dallas. She's been to California and Washington, D.C., has met with our senators and congressional delegation. And all that's important for us as a state, as it ties together our need to conserve water in light of the water wars that we face, both with Alabama and Florida. So I appreciate you, Amber. Thank you for that. She won an award. It's been written up in a couple of publications, and it just speaks volumes to her, about her and her initiative in doing these things. We have moved from drive-by or read meters to radio read, and now we're moving to the automatic advanced metering infrastructure. I always have to check that word. But this allows us to look at things in real time as they're happening. We can tell you if you have a leak in your home. We can tell you what your consumption has been. And we just recently passed some ordinances that says once we tell you or once you confirm a leak, you have a very short time to get any kind of credits back on your bill. We want you to fix that leak and to start conserving water. It's more important to us than giving the billing credits or providing additional assistance from the city. Those are relatively simple things that can be done. Our meter replacement project, we've budgeted $375,000 for 2019. We have replaced 500 meters in 17 and 18. We have 1,000 scheduled for this year, and that all works in a system of about 3,700 meters. But eventually, we'll be able to see real-time usage all the time, all day long. We're not dependent on a certain read date with those. And then also, we've put those meters on a long-term replacement schedule. We know their life is about 12 years or so, and instead of waiting like a lot of folks did and like we have done in the past till something starts failing, we have that set up now on a program where those will be replaced on an automatic schedule. Moving to our streets department, we work with the state through the LMIG program. That's the money we get from the state on a formula for paving. We've milled and paved five city streets this year. And we also are working on a major street sign change that is a federal requirement. It has to be a certain background. The diamond background has to have a certain reflectivity. Only can be a certain font or maybe a couple of fonts, and all of them are sized based on federal requirements. So that is an unfunded mandate that's been handed down to cities by the federal government, and we are in the process of doing those now. You will see our new signs in a lot of locations. They are distinguished from the county. The counties are green with white lettering. Ours are white with black lettering, and we have the city logo on the front end of those signs. In downtown Dallas, we're looking at building a new Cooper Street. We're going to relocate Cooper Street to the other side of the old Southern Bell building. Right now, it is a one-way street going east by First Baptist Church. We do not have an outlet to relieve traffic in times of festivals or big events downtown, so this will be a new two-lane street a little closer to town that will provide that accessibility. It will tie in with Johnston Street and afford the people the opportunity to come and go and move around much better during those high traffic times. Very soon, within the next couple of months, you will see construction begin on South Johnston Street, Park Street, Spring Street, and Griffin Street. It will match the downtown vernacular with the brick sidewalks, the light, the street trees, the benches that we have downtown. There will be a sidewalk on both sides of the street. They'll help move people during big events. Will provide a broader street, better turning angles, and overflow capabilities for traffic on Main. The next one is a major intersection improvement with the Georgia Department of Transportation. We are exploring the opportunity of a roundabout at Legion Road and Business 6 or Merchants Drive. If you drive through that area in the afternoon, you know that's almost running the gauntlet, taking your life into your hands. And that will be the first major roundabout in the city of Dallas. And hopefully that will get in the process of being approved and contracted in the very near future. One thing I'm very proud of is the substantial completion of our first portion of our trail at the Scott Smith Preserve at the Dallas Battlefield Park. You see an aerial view there and the listing of the properties. There are about 280 acres of the old battlefield site and Griffin Creek. This first phase runs off Orphan Brigade Drive, just right there below the post office, and it will be open to the public later this month. It's about a half-mile trail. The big thing about it is it has a bridge that spans the creek. It's about 300 feet long and 30 feet high, and it will help us to preserve for future generations the historical assets from the Civil War, both federal and Confederate defenses, and also of the natural beauty of the area in Griffin Creek, of the flora and fauna that lies there in that creek valley. Phase 2 is almost in the letting stage. It should be let in 2020. We're in right-of-way purchase now. This is a trail that will connect to the trailhead at the Paulding Chamber of Commerce. We'll cross 278. We will build a new bridge over the railroad on the old 61 right-of-way that was there for years and years. So to connect Chattahoochee Tech with downtown Dallas and also get people to this Battlefield Trail, and then that trail will continue through the property we own to the backside of Sarabab Park. It will be fully ADA accessible, and will provide a lot of recreation opportunities for people in the city of Dallas. And hopefully, as we went through these tourism meetings for those visitors that come here, for the natural beauty of Paulding County, to be able to take that trail and to explore what we have in the city of Dallas. We're about to put out welcome mats very soon as part of this LCI, our Livable Centers Initiative construction. You will see the construction of 7 gateway signs into the city of Dallas at all the major points of entry. They mimic our logo somewhat in depicting the historic Paulding County Courthouse, and they will be at all entry points to the city. Helps to define the place and give a common theme to the things that we're doing to tie downtown with these entrances. And you know, I hear a lot of times people say, I wish we had this, or I wish we were like so-and-so. Well, all of us look around the room and say, I wish I had so-and-so's money, or I wish I looked like so-and-so. We are an individual city just like every other city is different from us. We don't have a large footprint of historic buildings in downtown like some of our neighboring and sister cities have. But we're working with what we have, and I hope that this time next year, when I come back and speak to you, I will have a beautiful new plan for a lot of Dallas. We have been working with a visionary and a person that's worked in a lot of development arenas around the state and around the world, and we've seen a lot of things that provide great potential for the city of Dallas. So hopefully by this time next year we'll be able to show you that. It will incorporate housing, commercial and retail. It will be a totally different concept from about anything we've seen so far in the state of Georgia. And it's that housing component, not just the daytime numbers, but the permanent residents that help drive the economy of cities like Cartersville and Kennesaw and Carrollton, where they have vibrant downtowns and have access to a larger evening population and not just a daytime population that passes through. We're very proud that after a year, our solid waste service is doing very well. It's functioning very well. It's paying its bills, and actually it's growing in service. We have better records now to know who we're serving and who needs to be served. And the great thing is that we're providing service 4 days a week with 2 trucks to 4,000 stops, and we've almost eliminated all complaints. It's a lot easier for me to get something done when they're my employees than trying to beg a contractor to go back and do something they should have done the first time. It works for a clean city and efficient services. And that kind of ties in with the next thing about our pride in community. Teresa mentioned something about the trash flash mobs in hers. Our employees take an afternoon once a month or so, and we go around downtown and pick up trash. If you're a smoker and you throw a cigarette butt out, if you will leave your name at the back table, I'll be glad to bring you a trash bag full and teach you that you should not throw those things out on the ground. But I appreciate the leadership that our employees take in that. We've made some additions to the Civil War Memorial Trailhead Park in downtown Dallas. That's our probably most photographed location in town. Everybody going to a prom or a wedding or whatever comes there. We put more energy efficient LED lights in the fountain. The Civil War Trails marker has been installed there that details the events in and around and the locations of the Battle of Dallas, as well as one at Sarabab Park that talks about the Orphan Brigade and the property that we own there. We've done some upgrades to Sarabab. We've added lighting for our volleyball courts. We've added a gazebo at Dogwoods Park. We put new shade structures up at Sarabab Park over the stands. So if you go to see your grandchildren, you don't dehydrate in a matter of time out there. And we also have a new baseball field at Sarabab Park. So we've got relatively limited space, but we're trying to make the most of it for our people. And then that moves us into November. And November the 6th is the general election across the state of Georgia. The city of Dallas has 2 referenda on the ballot. The first one is SB 17. This is the brunch bill. This allows restaurants to serve alcohol by the drink beginning at 11:30, and it is required to be passed by the electorate. The governing body cannot do it on its own. So that will be available to city residents, and the county's also voting, and I think Hiram's also voting on the same referenda. They're going to wait till next year. If you want to drink at brunch, come to Dallas or go to the county. And then the other referendum is for the Freeport exemption. This allows some credit, tax benefits to manufacturers. I remember as a young man about 40 years ago when the county voted on a Freeport exemption. And you know how government moves slow. Well, this year the Department of Revenue came in and said, "We can't find where y'all had a referendum." We said, "Well, we all voted on it whenever it was done the first time. Doesn't matter. We don't find it." So we're having to vote on whether or not to have a Freeport exemption in the city of Dallas. It is an additional asset for economic development, and I would encourage you to find out more about that before you go to the polls. I see Robert Reynolds shaking his head. I take that as a yes from him. I can't say that, but he can, so do that. And then finally, I want to close. We're talking about elections. You know, this country is divided in ways I've never seen it. And a lot of it is because we've lost the ability to talk with one another and to engage each other and have different opinions. And we have an opportunity to make big strides, to speak as a people and tell our elected officials what we'd like to see. And so I encourage every one of you to vote on November the 6th. Whatever your opinion or your bent or your leaning may be, it's important that you speak your piece and that you raise your voice and your voice is heard. Thank you very much.